Good stuff. If you would please share with me any thoughts, concerns, things going on in your life, things going on in the world that you'd like me to cover in today's talk.
Releasing pain.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him questions. Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Compassion for all beings, whether or not we agree with them.
Any others?
One with God.
Thank you.
How to be the change you want to see in the world.
Okay, good.
Diffusion of conflict.
Okay, no more. We're good. Diffusion. I got that though. It's a great variety again. Just one of the very last one. The concept of diffusing conflict, compassion for others, even when we don't agree, and a lot of things that you're saying are dovetailing off of each other. Just the concept of diffusing conflict. And we'll go a lot of different places, I'm sure, in this conversation. But keep in mind, oh boy, it's just everything all at once. It just starts coming. I'm like, I'll hold it. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Give me some time. And then I hear the voice go, there is no time. So, fine. You cannot diffuse conflict. You can't diffuse conflict in your liver, with your children, at work, or anywhere else unless you really want it. Diffusing conflict, if you want to be right, isn't going to work. Diffusing conflict by getting them to agree with you isn't going to work. To diffuse conflict by being so amazingly compassionate that you feel deep sympathy for all those lowly people who don't get it isn't going to work. You actually have to choose peace. Not just choose not to argue with others. You have to choose peace. But you have to actually want it. Or choosing it is just words. Honestly. Here's a great thing about words. Somebody says, I would like to do something. Would means eventually like to do something. See, that's not the wording of a master. That's not the wording of a Christed being. So what wording does a master use? It is, I will to. Well, that's weird English. I will to. Wouldn't you just say, I will do that? Or you will say, I would like to. But you don't say will and to at the same time. Yes, you do. Because it means, I will that this be done. You see? I will this. Now, humans have a lowercase w. If they even use the word I will, it's I will. Kind of, maybe, because it's intimidating. Then don't use it. Just sit around and do like humans. I would like to, but and everybody has power over me and I'm a victim. And you're allowed to do that. You can do that for 1,000 more lifetimes. It won't be on this planet, because this planet's experiencing an ascension. And if you want to experience the frequency shift that the planet's going through, you have to actually shift your frequency to live on this planet. But they have some other horrendous planets you can go live on, the planet Victim in the victimized star system. I mean, you're allowed to manifest anything you want. You can just, and you probably be alone on that planet because there's probably billions of the planet victims in the victimized star system. I mean, it wouldn't be great if right? You got to be a victim. So if that's what you want to do, but that's not mastery and that's not your real self. I'm not just telling you about wouldn't it be cool if we attain something better? I'm not even selling you on that there is something better. I'm only saying the truth. And that is that we are going home. You get to choose when. But it is God's will that no soul shall perish. So there is no being that's ever going to stay in hell. There's no being that will ever not evolve. We just get to drag this on as long as we like. However, this gets tricky. So that means, what if the earth is shifting, which it is, and it's going through an ascension process, which it is, and its frequency is changing, which it is, and we're allowed to stall and so on. Who's the we that I'm talking about when I say you're allowed to stall and stay on a planet victim in the victimized star system? Who am I talking about? See, the real you is the one that is wanting to wake up and do the ascension process. So even if you say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to, you're allowed to pout, and you'll create some alternate reality in some alternate place, in some alternate time, and go there. But the truth is, we're already home, and we just haven't accepted it yet. The whole process of ascension that people are talking about, it's gonna, it's happening, it's gonna happen. So it's actually already happened because there's no time. The moment we thought we separated and created a time loop, we already went back home because it's a loop. Einstein said, if you follow a point of light through the universe, shooting through the universe, long enough, you'll end up back to where you started, which doesn't make logical sense. No, if I'm heading north, I'm going to go north. Somehow he's proven that you're going to go in one direction. Somehow you end up back where you started. See, when I hear that, I don't go, that's an interesting scientific theorem. I go, that makes total sense. That's spiritual. You see? All right. I'm getting all excited. You see, it's so beautiful when we realize there's so much more to everything. There's so much more. If you just go to the depth of everything, it changes the way you see things. It's okay that humans do silly human things, but the point of light always ends up back where it started. Where did it start? I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending. So all that we're struggling with is the time loop in the middle where history repeats itself and all these annoying and tragic things happen and some nice things once in a while, but it's a loop. It's a loop. And some of us think it's good enough. Well, yes, there's some bummer and downer moments, but you know what? There's also rainbows. So that's nice. Doesn't that make up for rape and war? No, it doesn't actually. Well, what about I won the lottery? It's not good enough. Nothing in this world is good enough to justify the horrendous things. And if you think I'm mistaken, sit down, think about your most positive experiences, ask somebody who's gone through hell and tell me that you can put their stuff in check with your positives. You got to respect that people hurt and they have felt hurt and it's not okay and it's not good. What are we going to do about it? Next election, no. Those people can't fix anything. Nothing of this world can be the solution to a problem that is in consciousness. It just doesn't work that way. You can try to be a great, sincere leader with all the best intentions. You're up against hell. You're up against, soul level fear. People don't want you to come up with the cure of cancer. People don't want you to solve problems. They really don't. When I say people, the ones making the most money off of the opposite. And that's what it is. If there wasn't money in it, people wouldn't run for office. Honestly, there's power in money. And I'm not giving you a political lecture. I'm just saying that mankind's got this wicked system and you're not going to fix it. But that doesn't mean I'm against politicians, because some of my clients and some of the people in our online and in-person audience are governors and senators, and God bless you and thank you. I think you're up against something, though. The more heart-centered you are, the more that office ages you. Because you go into it and go, I cannot believe that I was coming into this. You think you're going to make changes. Well, let's not go there much more. Let's talk about in our own lives. Look at your household. Some of us thought, when I have children, it's going to be different. My children are going to be like mystics and wise ones. They're just going to come out in lotus position, oming and chanting, I told you guys before, I did that when I had kids, many, many years ago, a few decades ago. I was like, into the whole, like, this will be great, spiritual, read the Bible, and it's all good. It's all effective. It all does make a difference. The frequencies, the healing of the mommy, tummy, and love, and all this stuff does help. But when you get attached to your ideas of how it's going to go, that's going to be met with laughter from the other side. I went to the extreme, and I've told this once before, but I went to the extreme with, I got my kids, and this in the old days, we didn't have internet. You had to find something by luck and then mail off for it and hope it shows up someday. I mail ordered pajamas that had chakra buttons, okay? Because my kids were going to be so spiritual. Pajamas, the one piece with the booties, and it even had a hoodie. So it had chakra buttons. That kid's still in therapy. Do you think they went, I almost fell and succumbed to this world, but it's these chakra buttons that saved me. No. If anything, it's like, Dad, why did you buy us chakra button pajamas? You have to know, I will to do this. Not I will do this, which is good. Add that other word and it means something. I will to. That means I'm aligning with God and all the power of the universe is with me to make this happen. You see? Moses could not have approached the sea and said, man, I'm hoping this will work. It doesn't work that way. No tribal leader of any continent ever said, maybe. You lead. You better know what you're doing and you lead. I will, and they have to know that you're willing this to happen. In politics, such hatred. I said it last year, if we transition to the next group of people peacefully, and it looked peaceful, in my opinion, for the most part, maybe at the end of November, December, and it was like, wow, this year might reflect a lot of peace because if we make that transition, it'll show a lot of spiritual maturity. But the number now of the ongoing fires and riots, and I'm not saying who's right or wrong, I don't care. I'm saying hatred breeds hatred. So now I can't say that this year is going to only be smooth and a great reflection of the transition. Now I have concerns. Now I'm saying, and I said 2 weeks ago, the folks in my online Monday group, they said, so how's everything? Any ideas or predictions? And so once in a while I do that. And I said, okay, earthquakes are coming. 3 days later, it started. And now we've had flurries all around the world. Immediately, earthquakes are coming. And I'm telling you, there's other things that are coming. This isn't a prophecy thing I'm going to do. I'm just telling you, the outside world reflects the inside world. So now people are saying, we're also experiencing some major solar flare storms that are going to do what to us? This, and they have a list of names probably of things that the solar flares can do. No, it doesn't work that way. The sun reflects us. When we stand in our Christ, Son of God consciousness, the sun will reflect it. The sun will do your bidding. It will. The story of Buddha sitting below the Bodhi tree, and it would say, if the rain comes or if it got too hot, the branches would bow over him to shade him or protect him. Do you believe that can happen? I'm telling you, it can happen. This isn't fable. These things can happen because it's consciousness that matches consciousness. So, if the sun flares and it ruins your computers or whatever, all it's doing with its flare, poof. And you know what it's doing? That sun, that fireball that shoots off of the sun into the atmosphere, its atmosphere or the space, what it's doing is, and so it is. That's all it's doing. It's bowing to you. Here comes a solar flare. Well, we don't want that. We're afraid. Then stop hating. Stop lighting things on fire. Stop resenting. And it's showing, reflecting our hypocrisies. There are people that have written spiritual books that you guys, you're bestsellers and you're buying it. Each of you own some of these books and they're spiritual teachers, spiritual leaders who now are on the internet telling you how much they hate certain politicians. Do what you want. I would say, not today. You poor thing. I thought you were a spiritual teacher. You're an author. My spiritual teacher needs to have something else, like consistency and centeredness. So then the student becomes the teacher. Don't assume these people know what they're talking about. As soon as hate comes out of their mouth, they're slipping, and it's okay. You shouldn't be worshiping them anyway. But they're slipping. How do you know? Draw the line, guys. I will to be in the light. And when they start going, you need to hate or else you're not spiritual, get behind me, Satan. How dare you? I've written 5 books, and you shouldn't have. Because books aren't what I want to hear anymore. Read books that are in alignment with God. And maybe some of theirs are, so read their books. Just don't listen to their words, in their talks. See more clearly. So, I will to be the Christ on earth. I will to be awake. I'm hurting. I have a lot of post-trauma from childhood. You can stay with that. I'm hurting. That's the I am hurting. And you're allowed to hurt. And it's understandable that you hurt. And what do you want to do about it? I will to heal. I will to emerge from that dark time. And when I say this, I can already feel some people. It's interesting to watch you. Even though I'm not looking at anyone, I can still see everyone. So it's interesting because when I say these words, some of you disconnected and your eyes started wandering, like, how am I going to do that? It's interesting to observe that in you. As soon as I said what I just said, there's a disconnect and kind of I don't think I could do that, and these various kinds of thoughts. No, just wait. I'm not saying that I and we don't have compassion for the hurt you've gone through. Keep your eyes focused here. Feel the friendship in this room to you folks online, to each other, and just get it. We're in this together. Nothing should be able to sever that. What God puts together, no man shall rent apart. And people thought that meant marriage. God, these humans, man. He means marriage. Really? And no man can rent us up. Then why are they all divorced? He must not have meant what man does at the altar with the I do. What God joins together means once you have chosen a holiness in your relationships and state of I will to forgive any stuff between us. I choose is what it means. But I choose is a little bit watered down from I will. It's a little softer. So if Michael's saying or someone's saying, try this, I will to, if you're like, oh, it's a little, okay, soften it. Oh, I choose, beloveds. Okay, fine. Then put it that way. Whisper it so it sounds softer. But it's okay for you to know that in you is the power of God. I will to know the will of God. I will to know my guidance for today. I will to walk out of this nightmare that was my past. You see? You can do that. The I will, but you're calling on a capital W, will. I will invoke the presence of God. Oh, but my genetics. See, and Jesus didn't go, dude, I'd like to help you, but your issue's genetic. I can only do things kind of that are, recent. It's not what he did. Imagine having that level of consciousness. And we're not, even though we laugh, we're not negating the hurt that many of us have gone through in life. But what you're saying is the power of that person isn't here. It cannot haunt you the rest of your being, the rest of your days. I will to be free from this. Tell that thing, that ghost called abuse, not today. I will to be the Christ on earth, or whatever wording feels comfortable to you. I will be healed. Call that in. Again, if the wording seems a little intense for you, it's okay. I choose. I choose to be free of what my parents did. I choose to be free of what my uncle did. I choose to be free of what my ex did. It's beautiful. It's softer, but it's perfect because you're saying I'm aligning with something different. And when somebody says, well, why aren't you voting the way I vote? I choose. Are you this party or that party? Are you the right or the left? They use this right and left thing for whatever reason. I don't know why you'd ever want to be one wing. Because you just, but anyway, you just go in circles. So when they say, are you part of this party or that party? Just try this. I'm part of the Central Party. Well, what's that? It's hard to put into words, really. You know, tell me 3 things you don't like about that party, and let them tell you 3 things. And you go, yeah, and I'm not into any of those. You know, show me anything of integrity, of any person, political, family, anything. That's my alignment. Anything that reflects healthiness. You see? God bless those people that try to make those big global changes, because they're up against a lot of stuff. And you might be outnumbered in your house. You know, guys, we've been having a household for 10 years or 20 years or whatever it is, and there's too much stress in our house. And I will to have peace in this house. Now, you're with me or you're not. But this is what is going to happen. If you go to your household and beg people to start having more peace, a little less, you know, blankety blank laying around the house, all the whatever blank you want to fill in there, you know, make that statement. That's not okay. But if you're okay with it, then don't be surprised that your life is still conflicted and you don't know where you're going and what you're doing. If you want to wake up, you have to will to wake up. But now you have to make all the characters on your stage, which is your own voices, your own addictions as well as others. This is where we're going. Peace is my destination. We will have peace in this household, you see? And you can manifest that in the most incredible way, co-creating it with God. And the people in the household, you know, I mean, yeah, you might get some pushback. Well, who do you think? Oh, and they will do that. The kids might buddy up over with dad. You know, Mom, we think Mom's going to her coven again on, you know, Sunday at 10 o'clock. She's going, you know, and every time she comes back, she's got flowers in her hair and she looks all happy. And, you know, but we don't want that stuff. And you're going to be shamed by some of these people. You might have parents that make derogatory comments, or you might not. God bless you if that's the case. But you might have people do that. I do not think you should push or preach these things to others. But they also are not allowed to push on your peace too much. Make it clear. Be a warrior. And say, not today. See, just because you say I want peace doesn't mean you're a pushover. Edgar Cayce said, to become a Christian does not mean being a doormat. You know, because they took that on. The Christianity took that on, that archetype of, well, wait, if Jesus was crucified to be Christ-like, we're supposed to be beat up all the time and shamed. And that's not true. He's saying, I did that so you don't have to do that. I've now said goodbye to the illusion and these behaviors of man. Yes, they're going to push in on you. Just hold your ground. And I'm saying hold your ground now too. Even if some prophecies and predictions start to leak through and manifest, hold your ground. This is not who I am. This is not this thing that's happening, this is not who I am. I will to be free of this. I will to know what I'm to do today. I wish I knew what God might. Stop. I will to know. We shift from begging God to give us a little help here and there. Throw us a bone, God, you know, give us a little. No, that's not actually your most empowered. That's your victim human self praying, which is better than nothing. But there's another side. In you is the light of God. And that doesn't beg God for anything. It wills to align with the truth of God. Then you can do anything. Now, it doesn't mean you're launched suddenly, okay? Whatever the date is today, it's the first Sunday of the month of April, is it? Yeah, April. So we start off the month of April and we say the first Sunday of April, I feel born again. Now everything, Michael said, everything that I say I will to win the lottery. It didn't happen. Oh, a flat tire. I will err into that. And didn't happen. So then you know what you're going to do. Go right back to the same depressed, conflicted person you were before today. The I will, it takes time for you to believe that in your own words. It's a very strange thing. In my upper 3 centers is the I am presence of God. And it knows. It doesn't guess, it doesn't wish, it doesn't beg for. It's the knowing of God. Everybody has it, this presence. Even if you're not in your body, You're a spirit being. You still have that presence with you everywhere you go because I am made in the image. There's this blueprint in me, this matrix in me that is a divine matrix. It's right here in my upper centers. Now, my job is to let that pour into my heart and soul so that my heart can align and say, I will to know the presence of God, the will of God. You see, I got to get my heart to go, I will. Get it to align instead of, I've heard all that, but I don't know, and I failed at things. And you have all these programs that have entered your heart and misprogrammed your soul. And you can say, well, I wish that weren't there. Well, it's not going to help if you don't learn to align with something else. Soul level healing and realignment. Soul level healing, realignment. Once, I don't know, maybe once a day. It's not one time and you're good to go. Tune-ups, constantly. And how do I know when I need that? Because when I stray too far, when I go too far right or left, no pun intended, when I go too far right or left, when I go too far into judgments, resentments, reactions, stuff's going to happen. And Jesus himself told us that. In this world, because it's a fallen world, it's a world that's reflecting that we don't love ourselves anymore, nor God or each other. And the world says, and so it is. And we think, well, it's okay because at least I do my day-to-day life, as long as there's no major imposition. Let me tell you, the impositions are coming to where you cannot deny we have problems that you cannot fix politically. You cannot fix economically. So right now, people can argue about economics or whatever on the globe, the planet. Nations, it's nothing. I don't care if they were shooting nukes at each other. It's nothing compared to what their mother will do when she says, I need to teach you guys something. All she has to do is sneeze, and everybody could be wiped out. But she will not. But she still might have to mirror the toxins in thought, word, and deed that we've put into her being. This is the Divine Mother holding a space, a body together called Earth, so her children have a place to what? To make a living and get a raise at work and have kids. That's not why we're here. We're here, thank God, as some sort of like an emergency room to sort of find out how wounded we are, heal, and come out of operation. Thank you. Yeah. We're here to come back, to bounce back, go home. And everyone's going. And somebody could say, well, no, but I have free will. What if I don't want to go? Then you can pretend that you're not there yet. You can pretend you're not there. But the real you wants to go home. You can be angry, wounded, hurt, doubting that you're deserving, doubting that you know how to do it. Doesn't matter. The part of you that says, I don't know how, isn't the real you. So the more I say, it's a funny thing. In your prayers, you can talk to God like that. Funny thing, God, the weirdest thing. There's this part of me that when I hear, people go, oh man, the first time I ohmed, I saw purple light. And me, I'm like, 5 hours later, hello. And I get nothing. You're allowed to have attitude. Because, but remember, that's not the real you. It's okay. The person that says, I like to do acid because I start to see things. I want to do ayahuasca, I start to see things. Listen, I'm not against or for anything of this world because none of it's real. But what I want to say is, it's kind of a compliment. The good news is the person wants God so badly, they'll use external means for a quick adjustment of their brain cells to go, I knew it. The bad news is they don't realize they can do it on their own. But the good news is it does tell me they want God. Do you know that even somebody who's a crazy, tyrannical warmonger, names in history, you don't have to repeat them all the time, that everybody knows the same names, but all those crazies that have conquered other countries and so on, deep down, why did they do it? Well, it's how men are. It's how narcissists, and you have all these fancy names, tyrants, evil, Satan, all kinds of names you have for these people. There's only one fitting name. Understand this. Why did they do that? Because they're afraid. The craziest, most successful mass murderer was afraid that he didn't have God, and so he took it out on others. So what's the solution? Punish them. Or find ways to remind them that they do have God. You don't just have God. You can't be separated from God. It's everywhere. But is it easy to, walk into a scene where a mass murder is taking place? Let me just interrupt you for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. I know you're feeling separate from God, and, I've shown by all the bodies in the room. But deep down, come on. Just say, I will to know. Stab, stab. Now you're gone. They'll look over you going, I hate that you said that. But really, really and truly, that's what some great beings in history have done, is shown other people. No matter what you say to me or do to me, it cannot shake my center. Now, what's amazing is the greatest beings not only said, you can't shake me off my truth. I know the truth of God. You can whine, you can yell, you can accuse, terrible roommate, partner, friend, parent, children, boss, employees, all that you can do or try to do, anything. Do what you're going to do, and I'm still going to know the truth of God. I might hurt, I might cry, I might get sick to my stomach from some of these words and actions, but I will to know the truth of God. You see, you can still do that. The great beings did that, but the greatest beings also knew that they were reflecting back to them, and I refuse to see that side of you. That's the hardest part. It's one thing to say, okay, here come the blows, bam, 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 bam. I'm going to hold my center, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to, tapping and all the things we do to try to neutralize all that stuff that's happening. That's amazing if you can pull that off. That's a light worker and a half. The next level, which I call the daughters of heaven, are the ones that, despite what they're doing, I still know the truth of you is not the one yelling at me. As Jesus put it, forgive them, they know not what they do. Is that how you responded to partners that took your inheritance or your half of the divorce? Is that what you do to the cheating partners? Is that what you do to disrespectful and unappreciative children? Forgive them, they know not what they do. I'm not saying you're bad if you didn't. It's most people wouldn't have that level of courage. It's hard. And I don't think you can pretend and fake that you're blessing other people when they're being harmful. But we can get used to it. Even if something goes horribly wrong and you react, tonight when you lay down, do it differently. Picture the incident. That person drove by. You're in your Prius. Electric car because you want to save the atmosphere. And somebody went by in one of those where the tires are bigger than your car. Just 20 gallons a minute. And they cut you off and, oh my God, and your Prius is going, danger, danger on the dashboard. And, and everything's gone wrong. And they flip you off just to add to the misery. I know that there's fear or there's reaction. You can the hand mudra, you might give them the special hand mudra, or you might even just feel sick and I can't believe people are like this. However you react tonight, at the end of the day, sit down or lay down and go back over it again. How did you feel? That was just the way my parents used to treat me, like I didn't matter. That was like my ex, that was my brother, that was my sister. You see, look at it and see, it wasn't just somebody on the road. That's Republicans. I was in my Democrat car, and here came a Republican car. The license even said, I'm a proud Republican. And mine says, peace to all, because that's the Democrat way. So you can do that. And I'm saying, guys, you're still hurting. Forget the right and left in politics. You're a human being. You're scared. And I'm telling you, the outside world just said, and so it is. Your doubts about your center were brought to you and shown to you. And yes, some rude person acted it out. They're going to continue to be rude until someone sees or loves the hell out of them. And someone sees enough light in them that can melt away. Jesus did not get upset when people weren't getting it. He didn't say, all this teaching, you think more of you would get it. So now that you're being tempted to hate me and crucify me, now would be a good time for you to go. But then again, he really was a nice guy. They just went with the tide, which people will do to you. It seemed like everything was good until you didn't get vaccinated. Now everybody hates you because you're not allowed, It becomes this weird sci-fi kind of experience. But that's a test. This isn't about vaccinations and votes. This is about people being spiritually tested. We all sat around and went, the fifth dimension is coming. It'd be beautiful. We'll all just chant and have UFOs in our garage and, crystals for energy source. And I won't have to need the power company anymore. No phones. I'll just go, hello, have conversations with whoever I want. Everything's going to be peachy. Oh, do you think that would be cool? Yes or no? Yes. How do you get there? By passing your tests. You don't graduate without passing your test. I did in school, but I got lucky. You're not supposed to be able to graduate if you don't pass your tests. So what are your tests? When they're trying to tempt you to hate. When they're tempting you on the news. And all these news companies, they've got agendas. Do you think that they're donating their time and their station they're on? This is income. This is money. So, and I'm not telling you they're not allowed to make money. I'm saying you need to look at how and why people have the power to push and pull you. So here's the presence of God, the knowing of God. Here's who you really are. You are a soul. Now you have 3 lower chakras that represent, your physical, counting upward, physical, emotional, intellectual self. But here's the problem. When stuff goes on, you're saying, okay, what happened? Did you see the news? No, what happened? Well, there was an earthquake. Where was it? Wait, I want to know what happened, where it was, and why. I want to know those, right? Those are normal things of the human self. I'm telling you, if you know who you are, all the whats, wheres, whys don't matter anymore. You see, that's humans who are trying to figure things out so they can go, okay, now that I have sorted it out, figured it out in my head, I can rest. That's not how you rest. You don't have peace by getting the world to give you the information you want. Oh, thank God there was an earthquake, but it was in another country. People actually feel that way. They feel relieved that it wasn't in their country. Does that sound healthy? No, we're all in this together. But automatically we brush it off. Why did it happen? Somebody harmed somebody else. Oh my God, why'd they do that? Well, that person did this. Oh, well, they deserved it. We're looking for whys that we can justify our judgments. What happened? Why did it happen? Where did it happen? See, that's the human trying to use senses that aren't of our usual 5 senses. It's using senses of questions. Stop. Who am I? I'm all of this. When someone got hurt, it came to me. When someone won the lottery, it came to me. We're all in this together. The who gets it and feels that sharing. There's no good feeling that I should have, no love, no achievement that I shouldn't wish upon everyone. And not because I just should. How could I not if we're all connected? Instead, what people do is, we won the election, to you guys. What about, you guys did a really good job there. In the ball games, there's a lot of that goes on. You wipe some guy out, almost kill him sometimes, the way they slam each other, and that's their game, that thing. But it happens, it's great when you hear audio clips sometimes when one says to another, that was really good job. Even when they're the other team. That's a little bit higher consciousness because it's lack mentality. You lack God, now you lack within yourself, and now you can't afford to compliment anybody else. See, I couldn't do that. If I were president, God forbid, of the United States, I would not be able to not go back and pull every great thing I've ever seen from anybody else. I'd be extracting from anybody, some more than others, some heart center, some great ideas economically. You see, that's what the new world is going to look like, a synthesis of all the greatest ideas. See, art and everything else should be like this beautiful drawing in of love and light. Not you, not this, get back. And the exclusivity, blocking people out. One of you asked about this, releasing pain, learning to ask the right questions, which I've already kind of covered. Learn to ask, who am I? Not what happened. You get triggered. Something happened. You hear the news. Hear it. Feel your reaction. But then, guys, jump back to, but who am I really? Did you hear there's a food shortage? You see? Oh my God. Wait. Who am I really? And let that start guiding you. And I don't just mean who you think you are. I said, who am I really? If God were here, what would God advise me to do? I think I'll go buy some extra supplies because it's hurricane season, so let's go stock up. That's just, practical. Nothing wrong with that. It's not fear-based. Fear-based would be, I got to get to the store and grab it all before anybody else has supplies. So there's two different ways you can do things, plugged in or unplugged. And plugged in means there's love. And, I remember being in one of my trips, tours to Hawaii, and there was this hurricane supposedly coming. So the phone rings, and I'm in my bed. There were a couple of friends that were with me helping with the tour. And I had a bed. I'm in my bed, and there's two people in that bed next. And the phone rings, hello? And it was, 3 or 4 in the morning. Hi, you need to evacuate. There's a hurricane imminent. It's going to be here soon. Okay, click. And I did. I just laid back down and went to sleep, but I could hear this, like the movement of someone in the bed, the sheet, you just hear it. And I could tell, oh God. They're sitting up, like they knew something was up. I'm like, what? I played, that's my style, just joking. What is it? Who was that? Oh, it was just the hotel. Oh. What do they want? They said there was a hurricane coming. And like, what are we gonna, and I'm like, we're not gonna go back to sleep, are we? You're actually gonna worry. So respect the illusion. So I'm like, okay, let's get up and we gotta go somewhere, high ground or whatever. I swear I'm an odd person, You don't want me with you in emergencies and stuff. I've told you, like to take me like camping, you're just gonna starve. I mean, I'm not one of those. Now, what we're going to do is look under a rock and find creepy things and eat them because they have protein. I don't need protein. I'm to eat a bug. I'm not gonna eat anything. Maybe I would gnaw on some pine needles or something if I had to, but you're gonna starve. And if it comes to putting up a tent, you're sleeping outside. I'm not the person for that, I just go with God and I'm good. I'm good to go. So, concepts like compassion, and yes, it's right on. But watch even things with compassion towards this world. Because sometimes compassion means you see a problem and you're addressing it with compassion, which makes sense. That's a good thing to do. When you really understand it, who you are, I don't just send compassion to my abusive neighbor, which means there's a problem and I'm nice enough to bless them with compassion. Do you see the subtle ego there? If you really get it, you understand they're reflecting a lesson. I get the lesson. I surrender it and change it over to love. Now do I still need to call them? And most of the time you don't. Most of the time you don't need to address any issues on the outside when you feel the peace of God on the inside. That word one of you asked, joy. Joy is when I stick to my guns and I hold my center, there's this natural effect. It's like a boomerang. It comes back in the form of joy. You don't actually just get joy. It's achieved by sticking to your guns and being a peaceful, loving person. So it just comes back and you go, it's amazing. When I wake up, I just feel so much more alive and joyous than most people. I do. I can feel that, you could say. But you had to have earned that. And I don't mean in a hard way. I mean, you had to have done your good work. Joy doesn't just happen on some people and not others. Someone's done their work. Someone chose not to hate, not to fear, not to react, not to judge when those tests came. So the world is going through a test a major test, and we know this is going that direction, you don't just go, everything's pretty horrendous. Why don't we just ascend? And, that's a great idea. President will sign a new, whatever they call those things he keeps signing, proclamations and so on. What do they call it? Executive order. Peace on earth and goodwill to man. And then everybody goes, well, I didn't realize that's all we needed. A signature on the document that says peace on earth, goodwill to man. And so it is. And then the other group's going to go, what do you mean by peace? We have to decide what peace is. Let's vote on that. And they just all argue again. So, at the end of the day, what do we want really? We want peace. We want joy. You got to pass your tests. We want to ascend. You guys ready for the next dimension? You want to raise to a level of where it's peace and tranquility? Do you want to be in your etheric light bodies? Yay or nay? Yes. Right. Then you have to pass your tests. Well, no, this one guy told me, if I just chant boom shakalaka 3 times a day for 10 days, I will automatically ascend. Listen, I don't know who told you that. They were wrong. If somebody tells you there's an herbal formula, you automatically get to ascend. I am telling you they're mistaken. Some of them are overtly lying or mistaken. Any word you want to put to it, it's not truth. The truth is you have to become ascended. You have to raise your consciousness. How do you do that? Pass your tests. Choose love instead of fear. When do I do that? In a workshop? No, the workshop and conferences and Sunday services is where you're trained. It's when you leave and the guy with the giant tire truck goes by and cuts you off and flips you off. That's your test. Now, I'm not saying you failed when you got scared or angry, but you are failing if that night you didn't change it. You chose to let the wounds of today become tomorrow. Don't let these things go into your next day. I will to be free of this. See? Wake up. Use that power. Oneness with God right here. Be the change, one of you said, that you want to see in the world. Be the change. Diffuse conflict, but not by being a victim. What if this is true? What if this is just a test? And it is. How do you want to do on your test? And at the end of your day, everybody, the real self, wants to pass our tests. All of us really want to return to the presence of God. That's the great news. But again, there's the knowing. I need to will, not sometimes choose. I need to will or consistently choose the way of God. And the way of God is Christ consciousness. Why Jesus, who identifies with Christ as a consciousness, says, I am the way. He didn't say, I have some great ideas. I am the way. And no one will enter heaven but through me. That's intense. Now, there's people that of other religions, philosophies and thought systems, even New Agers that are like, well, I'm the ascended masters. So I follow all of the ascended masters. Jesus is just one of them. Some people would say, well, wait. If he says no one gets there but through me, he's either lying or he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth, then it means no one gets home but through Christ. And that means whatever else you've come up with that you think is your way home is not correct. You see what I'm doing there? Or he lied, because I don't like that. Jesus, you're thinking of religion. You're thinking of Christianity. Christ is the name of God in man. And if there's a chakra that is associated with the Christ in you, it is your throat chakra, because the upper 3 chakras is the presence of God, and it's the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Father, and the Holy Spirit are the upper 2. The throat is the Son. This is the child of God, us. This is the name of Christ in man. So when you use the spoken word, I am as God created me, or any of the I am comments Jesus made, and he used that a lot. I am. Are you the Son of God? I am. Are you this? I am. He used that a lot. What he was identifying with is not a Jewish man that lived 2,000 years ago. Not a male. He wasn't identifying with anything of this world. He was saying, I am. I am the presence of God right here and now. Not just wise, not just kind of awake, not just a great healer, not just a good prophet. The full presence of God in a person, fully Christed. So that is unique. Now, I'm not saying you have to go full on believing that, but you should ask these kinds of questions. If I say, well, Jesus, I think, was just a kind of a good guy, it was Gandhi and Jesus, okay, then why did he say, I am, and nobody gets home but through me? Was he lying? Because according to you, if he's just the same as everybody else, kind of Gandhi and anybody that's wise, then he would have been telling a lie to say, no one gets home but through me. He was telling the truth, but there's a meaning to it. You cannot become one with the Father until you awaken the Christ, because the Christ is the presence of the Father, Mother God in you. You see how that works? He wasn't saying no one gets to the Father, Mother God, but through the man, Jesus. No. Jesus gives you an example, and other great teachers can give you, your nutritionist can give you ideas on how to live on earth. Your doctor, nutritionist, whatever, your personal trainer. These are ideas. Jesus shows us how to walk in the light as a person. But that wasn't his main message. His main message was the consciousness he was teaching. Awaken the Christ. Buddha was telling you, here's how to walk in a life of compassion. But you have to awaken the Christ to go home. In the meantime, Moses gives 10 commandments. Buddha gives his commandments. All these teachers gave their guidelines. Even Muhammad, all these great teachers, Lao Tzu, told you, here's how to walk in this world. That didn't mean they could tell you how to become completely Christed. It took someone who actually did that. And the first was Jesus, to completely awaken the Christ. That's why they said to Buddha, 500 years before Jesus, are you that one that we're waiting for? And he said, no, he's coming. He told them what region, he told them what it'll look like, etc. I'm not putting down any other teachers. I'm saying each of them is a great teacher, a great leader, a transformative being for us in our world, for our races, for our groups, for our regions. That's just different. Honor them, take their suggestions. 10 commandments here, 10, something from Buddha, wherever you want to go with it, cool. But that's not all the way home. That's just behavior still. At some point, what I really want is the consciousness of God, and I have to choose that. Not once in a while. I will to be the Christ on earth. You don't have to say that to your friends. Hey, listen, by the way, I'm starting now, I'm the Christ on earth. I don't think that usually goes well. Especially with, like, if you say it to friends or family members. But can you believe that this is something you're awakening? And you don't have to tell anybody else. Just at home, in your quiet moment, look around, make sure nobody's listening. Hey, listen. Outside, I'm still going to look, Mom, and I make breakfast for the kids, and I do things, that I'm going to do, and I go to work. But in here, I am committing to being born of the Christ within myself. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm asking you, Divine Mother, Holy Spirit of God, take it. Just take the lead. Go for it. You see? Just that little willingness, and let her walk in. Because she's the mother. She's the Divine Mother, so she will birth the Christ in you. Whatever that may look like, it's different for each person. The speed and ratio it comes in, it's different for each person. Please take a few centering breaths. We're taking just a half a minute to look at all the ways in our day-to-day lives, all the ways that we're not walking in the light of God. None of it to be judged. Just look at it. Still a little temper, still a little vulgar, still a little addiction going on, whatever it is. Just stand with it and hold it for a moment without judgment. Well, I do this, it's true. And don't think it, don't overthink it. Just, there's some areas that aren't holy yet. This is where I stumble as a human being. Sometimes I fear these things. Sometimes I resent these things. Sometimes I deny these things, minimize these things. And you know what? That exhausts me without me knowing it. I have to drink something in the morning to wake up. I have to have a smoke, a drink, all the things I do, all these things that I can see. My denying it, minimizing it is what exhausts me. I think that I'm going to collapse if I own these things, but that's not true. I don't know what's going to happen if I sit and own it honestly. So here I am, God. I peel open my being, my soul, my being, and say, here I am. I'm a little embarrassed, shamed, or whatever it might be of these things, but it's still here. It's true. I still do curse people once in a while. I still do get mad at people once in a while. I see it. I still react to politicians. I can see where I buy into gossip and hate. I see where I'm insecure and I want people to like me more. All of these things. I stand naked to the world. Take the next half minute just to look at all the ways you try to cope with these things. You minimize them, you numb them, you drink them away. Sleep is sometimes a way to escape. All the different ways. Just being honest. Another relationship ought to do it, but it doesn't. Good. What you're describing is your life in your lower chakras. Your intellectual things, your emotional things, your physical things. There's the wounded self from the past. And there's the person who tries to cope with those wounds. Whatever techniques you use. Scream therapy, tapping, drugs, alcohol, seemingly healthy things and unhealthy things. Look at how much we do to try to fix ourselves, numb ourselves, cope with ourselves. It's exhausting. And I'm done living in this exhaustion. So, I'm imagining that from my lower centers and my life in my lower centers with all this coping and so on, I am rising into my heart for a moment. Place a hand or two over your heart. I will to be in my heart. Choose it. I will to be in my soul. Above all the other stuff. Humble. In my soul is my innocence. I'm above all the doings and the reactions, all the numbing and whatever else. I'm above all that. I'm in my soul. And even in my soul, I have erroneous, false, mistaken beliefs about myself. So even at this highest human level that I could be, there are still challenges, temptations. So in this moment, just start imagining that little holes start to appear between your heart and your throat center and your crown. Just imagine little beams of light are starting to trickle through. Slowly but surely. I'm going to quietly do a prayer to help open these doorways, this portal, but just know that the Divine Mother is in charge of all of this. And just stay in your heart and let light come shining through. Let your heart breathe more fully and draw that light in. Feel appreciation. It's okay if you still have doubts and hurts from the past. It's okay. Just don't let that distract you from the light beaming through. And what I'm specifically doing, things like genetics and cellular memories of hurts and past life things, I'm just opening all these channels up, more and more light. The light of God shining from the heavens through the veil of separation and into our hearts. Start to imagine everybody else in the room, even the folks online. Imagine everyone in this room that we're all in energetically. Imagine each of us having that same experience where light is shining from heavens into our heart and soul. Imagine how glorious this must feel. More and more of us activating this frequency of God. It's pouring into our hearts. Whether we have resistance, denial, nope, not today. Allow this light to pour down into your heart and soul. And from your heart and soul, feel a fullness. This is real. This is the presence of God I'm feeling in my heart. It might feel powerful, exciting, and activating. It might feel gentle. Whatever it is, it's real. This is the presence of the Holy Spirit. Now hold your ground. Hold your heart center. This is where your core is. The word heart comes from the word core. They're the same. This is my center. From my heart, with the light of God beaming from heavens into my heart, I am fully here, present, activated. Now, I turn my attention downward to my solar plexus, my navel center, and my root chakra. And I command all of these centers and all the stuff in them, the memories in them, the belief systems, and everything they represent. Be still and know the I am presence of God. Each of these centers has stories and history. Not today. Be still and know the I am presence of God. And just seconds more, make your own commands. If you hear doubt, be still, my doubt. Be still and know the I am presence of God. Be still, unworthiness. Be still, guilt and shame. Command it. You're allowed. Say, knock it off. Enough is enough. Move aside. The presence of God is here. And watch and feel the consciousness, the entities, the memories held in these centers. Watch them. Watch them bow and slowly move out of the way and dissipate. Peace on earth means peace in me and goodwill to man. Peace in me and goodwill to my being and everyone I encounter. And so it is. Repeat, please, with me. I am part of God, and I am very holy. I am part of God, and I am very holy. I am part of God, and I am very holy. And so it is. Thank you so much. Just back into the room, centering. From that state that you're in, how are you feeling right now? Awesome, wonderful. Nice, nice. Any comments or feedback on the talk or the meditation that you feel can help you in your life and the people around you? Yes.
The will to is a lot more powerful.
The will to.
Choose to.
Yeah. The will to is a very powerful statement we have to get used to using. Yes.
The outside world have no power over me. One with God I try.
Yes. The outside world has no power. It doesn't. Why does the outside world have no power? Because God is bigger and stronger. That's like saying my dad can beat up your dad. That's not why the world has no power. You know why it has no power? It's not even there. It's a hologram. And it's just mirroring back to us how ridiculous we have been, forgetting who we are. Who else has had a hand up? Okay, good. Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
What you said about Mother God birthing the Christ within you.
Yes. Isn't it? How does everybody not know this? You call in the Mother of God, you call in the Holy Spirit. Why does Jesus say, I leave you with a comforter? Is he like, because I need a break? No. After all, I was just crucified. You don't mind, right, if I can just head to Tahiti for a bit? Right? No. Why did he say, I leave you with the comforter? Because he's saying, she's the one who will birth the Christ in you. I'm here. And I'm with you always, which he says in A Course in Miracles. And I meant that literally. Because in every one, we're all connected. So the consciousness that is the Christ and is Jesus is also in me. Let the Christ that was born in Jesus be born in you as well. That's an affirmation that the original followers of Jesus used. Let the Christ that was born in Jesus be born in you as well. It's great, yes?
What I got out of it is that we live in a really dark world. We're really influenced by all the dark experiences we've had as
Yeah.
children, uses, and so on. And
Yeah.
so forth. And to come out of that darkness, for all of us in this room, to come into the light and pass that test on a daily basis.
Yeah. Hit with all this stuff throughout our life and lifetimes, the programming and all that. And yet to choose to know who I really am and just part the seas, man, and go to life. See, that whole metaphor of Moses, the Egyptians are the old way of, even the Israelites, some of them were saying, why don't we just go back to Egypt? Was that fun? No, but it was familiar. Being a slave. Can you imagine? Being a slave sounds like a good idea because it was familiar. That's the voice of every codependent, every addict of any kind. Well, I'm going to stay with it because it's familiar. At least it's familiar. No, you know what? Shake it off, man. Because Moses was sent out into the desert and he had to find himself. And he did. Then he could kind of choose to get in alignment with God saying, trust me, now they need to go through the wilderness in the form of the sea and then the wilderness. You'll do this. You'll pull this off, but you've got to know, I will to do this. I know I can do this. Yes.
When you're in a familiar material comfort place, and then transition like a holy center or like a familiar
Yeah.
peaceful environment to then transfer over to like the huge wheel
Yeah.
monster truck or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That analogy for anything in life that is familiar to that peaceful setting to then still coalescing
Nice.
and aligning to that
Right.
presence, even in chaotic environments. It's really
In every environment, like he's saying, to apply all this beautiful stuff to those moments where the monster truck, and the rudeness and it's just also your children are sick, someone you love unexpectedly passes away, war breaks. I mean, there's all kinds of tragic stuff. And no, I will to be centered. What political party? The centered party, which is the only one that really has a right to party, Someone else had their hand up here. Yes?
Yes, while you were talking about the I will and I am piece of it, it reminded me of something you said in the past that it's carried with me over the years, which is if you have to explain yourself, you're already misunderstood.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have to explain yourself, I mean, you're already misunderstood, But remember, if you have, how much explaining? It might mean that you don't even know who you are, so you're kind of making up for it with words. So there's a knowing, there's this beautiful presence that we all have within us. And when we know, there's this calm, this center, and it's really beautiful. All of us not only can do that, we're moving in that direction. How do you get there? You have to pass your tests. If you can't pass a simple test, which I won't name, examples of it every day that we go through, then just stop talking about how ascended you are and how masterful you are. And the spiritual teachers, they're not wrong for having shown hypocrisy with politics and all that. What's amazing is, do you know that they couldn't have been tested if they weren't already at the potential precipice of evolved? You see, this was why they were tested. When they switched into hate, they failed their test. But why were they tested? Because they were almost there. There was something happening that was authentic. And then they blew it. But I want to know if I'm you, what I want to know is, what do I do with this? The greater the light, the darker the shadow. So the more I awaken, the greater the temptation, until I'm done here. And I will to be the Christ on earth becomes, I am the Christ on earth. And you step into that place. Somebody had their hand up, yes?
Really appreciate what you're sharing. There's a line from the Sutras where the Buddha says, the mind is luminous, obscured by visiting defilements. It's always been in my heart. It kept coming up when you were talking.
Yes. And the concept of Buddha, I'm repeating back for the people online especially, but the concept of Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree in meditation, imagine the things coming at him according to the story. Memories and past life stuff and genetic stuff. Don't think that wasn't there. Everything was coming at him of this world. There's the dancing girls, and he's like, whatever, peace out. Then comes threats, whatever. And the arrows being shot become rose petals. It's pretty magical. That's great, isn't it? I mean, if you saw that in a movie or had a vision of that, wouldn't it be pretty stupendous? Then what are you doing to turn arrows into rose petals? Well, I'm nothing, but I like seeing Buddha do it. Well, that's great. But next time somebody says, you're blah, 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 blah. Rose oil. Try to handle it. Remember, you're not just doing it for you. You're showing them what you think of the situation, and you're reflecting who they are. Why would you treat them lovingly? Why would you respond with love if you didn't think they were worthy of it? So it makes a difference for them. We're going to take up our collection and do our closing prayer. Please be as generous as you can be. Hold your love offering to your heart. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. And thank you online as well for your prayers and your donations. Please stand for our closing prayer. Peace. We choose the peace of God, right? There's lectures, there's processes, and there's experiencing it inside, not just hearing it. I will to get the truth from what I heard today. I will to go to a new level of consciousness. I will for the Christ to be born in me. I will that the presence and guidance of the Holy Spirit be with me from now on to a whole new level. I will to listen to the guidance of the Divine Mother. Before we do the last words, I'm going to ask this. If you would just turn, if you're comfortable to do so, hug at least one person. But before you do, there's a couple of people that have been quite emotional during the service. If you're one of them, please give the person holding you a little extra squeeze. That's going to be a signal to them that you need that. Okay? It's a covert way without calling you out. Just whoever hugs you, just hold them and hold for a little extra squeeze, and that'll be a signal to them to take you and hold presence with you for an extra moment. So please turn and share with someone. Cindy? Good.
Chair too. You got it? The umbrella. That's right, I'm rubber boot up. That's okay. Shorty but a goodie.
Thank you so much. Let's share our closing prayer. If you're still being held and you need it, then keep holding. That's okay. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with all of you. Thank you.